Hello and welcome to Framed by James. I'm your host, James. I'm an ABO certified optician and I work for Hidden Valley Eye Care and Wasatch Sports Vision in Draper, Utah. So let me tell you what this channel is all about. I'll be educating you on some really awesome things about the optical industry. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks of the trade. I'll also be picking some frames for some celebrities and other people, and I'll walk you through that process of picking the perfect frame. Spoiler alert, it's about the fit, not the shape. So I started this channel for two very different reasons. First thing is normal, well, I guess abnormal. I'm talking about my face. Yeah, it's a little tricky to pick a good frame for myself because of the dimensions of my face. I'll show you what I mean. So fair warning, you won't be able to unsee this once you see it. Fortunately, I've got a beautiful wife and 3 cute kids, so I'm not trying to impress anyone. And since I'm going to be analyzing other people's facial features, I figure it's only fair if I analyze my own too. So the reason why it's hard to pick a good frame for myself is that my face is asymmetric and the proportions are outside what normal dimensions would be for virtually all optical frames. First, my eyes aren't level, so once it's higher than the other. Relatedly, while both eyes are close to the eyebrow, this one is a little closer. The second thing is I have a narrow set eyes and a narrow nose bridge, and this wouldn't be a big problem because I could just shop in the kids frames for smaller frames, but the width of my face isn't necessarily small, so if I shop for kids frames, they just end up being all over too tight, squeezing my head. So it doesn't work that way. Basically, the ratio of my pupillary distance, or the PD, or the distance between my eyes, to that of the width of my face just makes it hard so that kids frames won't work for me. They're just too small. The last challenge with my face is the length of my face, or the temple length. That is small, and so I end up with frames that I have to really loop around my ear, and I run into having having them show out the bottom of my ear. Long story short, the first reason why I started the channel was to demonstrate how you can find frames, good frames, even for the weirdest of faces. The second reason why I started this channel is a little more embarrassing. So my wife and I watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette, not religiously mind you, but it's a guilty pleasure. Tangent. If you think about it, the show's kind of ridiculous, right? I mean, if there's one thing I know about love, it's that the best way to find it is to go on a TV show, to compete against 30 other people, to win over a person whose identity you didn't initially know, all in an environment that is completely controlled by people who literally get paid to create drama to entertain the millions of people that will watch and criticize your every move. That's the secret to finding love. Anyway, back to the point. As we were watching Tayshia's season, I noticed some less than fantastic optical choices from some of the contestants, with a few good choices mixed in there as well. So I found myself thinking, you know, if I were picking glasses for this person, I would choose something different. And then I thought, okay, I'll make some videos and show the process, and I'll actually pick some frames for the people. And here we are. For this episode, I'm just going to briefly go through the process of picking a good frame, and then in later episodes, I'm going to really dig into the science and art of frame choice. Now, keep in mind that these guidelines apply specifically to prescription eyewear, although some rules will apply to non-prescription eyewear, like non-prescription sunglasses as well. If you've ever bought glasses online, you've likely been taught to focus on your face shape to pick the right frame for your face shape. I'm telling you right now to take that idea and push it right on down the list of criteria for picking the right frame for you. It just doesn't matter that much. It doesn't matter enough to put that as the top or the only criteria for picking a good frame. So reason number one is that face shape is such an abstract measurement tool. To demonstrate what I mean, I've gathered some examples directly from online frame retailers. What they do is they put a geometric shape on top of a person's face to supposedly show you what that person's face shape is. Let me show you the problem. Okay, so here are some pictures from some online frame retailers. Here we have a square face. So see what they do, they put the square shape around the face and they say that's a square face. And here's a square face from another online retailer. So square face 1, square face 2. Here is a diamond face. Diamond 1, diamond 2, diamond 3, diamond 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here is a heart-shaped face. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're starting to see the problem, right? Here is a circle face. And another circle face. And here's a triangle face. Yep, that's a triangle face. And here's an oval face. That one's actually pretty good. I don't know if that's a triangle face though. So I think we've figured out what the problem is, right? I guarantee you, if you asked 100 opticians what any given face shape is, you'd end up with answers across the board. It's just really hard to determine and agree on face shape. So why do online frame retailers focus so much on face shape? It's because they are taking the trained optician out of the process. So this is literally the only way they can help you try and pick a good frame. Unfortunately, they're just focusing on the wrong things. Reason number 2 is that face shape just doesn't matter that much. It doesn't matter none, but it doesn't matter that much. It matters the appropriate amount. I mean, some frames just don't look good on certain faces. But even the top frame manufacturers in their trainings that they do say that you can either pick a frame that is in contrast to a person's face shape or one that is in harmony with a person's face shape. In other words, pick one that is the same as a person's face shape or one that is opposite of a person's face shape. In other words, they say it just doesn't matter that much. You can't go wrong. So if you can't go wrong picking a frame shape to match a face shape, and we struggle to classify face shape to begin with, then why are we so focused on it? There's a better way, and I'm here to show you the light. The solution is simple. Focus on the fit of the frame, not the shape of it. You'll hear me say this a lot. Fit over shape. So what do I mean by fit over shape? Let me show you. The simplified goal of picking the right frame is to get your eyes positioned in the frame so that they're in the optimal spot in the lens. I've drawn on these lenses to show you roughly where that sweet spot is. So if you draw a grid on the lens, you want your eyes to sit right about here. So horizontally, right about center, or within 5 millimeters or so of that center line. Vertically, you want your eye to sit about between halfway and 3/4 of the way from the bottom of the lens. So right there, that's your sweet spot. That's our goal, is we want to get your eye to sit somewhere close to this spot. So now we know what the goal is. What factors do we need to consider to get us there? When helping someone pick the perfect frame, I like to start with their prescription as well as their lifestyle and what they'll be using the frame for. Is it a progressive lens or a single vision lens? Do they have high myopia or hyperopia, a high plus or high minus prescription? Will they be using them for a specific activity like sports or fishing or just on the computer? What is it that they're using that prescription for? Once I know these things, I can now move on to find a frame that fits best. So when I say fit, I mean a frame that has the dimensions that best match the facial dimensions of the person. Again, we're going to get into the specifics in later episodes, but to demonstrate the fitting process, we're going to pick a frame for our celebrity today. And in honor of what brought this channel to life, we're going to choose a frame for one of my favorite bachelors, Mr. Ben Higgins. So given that I have no idea if Ben even needs glasses, we're just going to skip that first step and not worry about the prescription. We're just going to assume that Ben has a minor prescription, it's just single vision, so not a multifocal lens, and that he's just going to be using them for everyday spectacles. So getting into the facial dimensions, I like to start with the center of the face and then move outward. So we start with a nose bridge. We're looking at both the size of the nose bridge and the position of the nose bridge. Is it a wide nose bridge or a narrow nose bridge? Does the bridge sit higher or lower than the eye level? You can really get a feel for that on your own face by using a pen or your finger. So this is what I mean. So look at yourself in the mirror and either using your finger or a pen. So just roll it down the nose until it sits in the groove. And then we just see where that groove is. So on my own eyes, they're right about level here, and I know that I have a smaller nose bridge. So let's check it out on Ben. Okay, from what I can gather, it looks like Ben's bridge is pretty normal, just not too wide, not too narrow, and it looks like it's just a little bit higher than his eye level. Now we'll look at the pupillary distance, or the PD, how far apart the eyes are, and also that measurement in comparison with the width of the face and the head. Are the eyes narrow set or wide set? We want to try and match that as close as possible with the PD of the frame, which is the eye size, or the width of the lens, plus the bridge size. That measurement is the center of the frame, or the PD of the frame. Okay, for Ben, it looks like he's got a pretty good ratio between his pupillary distance, or the distance between his eyes, and the distance ear to ear, or the width of the face or the head. I wouldn't consider those to be narrow set or wide set eyes. Pretty normal on that one as well. If we've got those first two measurements right, then the eyes should be right in the sweet spot or close to it. If something's off, we might need to try a different frame, say a wider bridge or a higher bridge location, or a larger or smaller eye size. The last thing we want to look at is the temple length. Are the frame temples too long or too short? We want the temples to have about 20 to 30 millimeters from where it rests on the top of the ear and the tip. So between where it starts to bend and the end, we want about 20 to 30 millimeters. If it's too long, you end up looking like me and having to wrap it a whole lot. If it's too short, you don't have enough to wrap, and it doesn't sit well, doesn't rest well on the face. So let's check that. Okay, looking at the temple length is really hard to gauge off of a picture alone, so we're just going to assume that he's got a normal temple length and go from there. Those measurements are crucial for finding a good fitting frame. Once we're solid on those, I believe the rest is personal preferences. We'll look at frame shape and decide what the client likes best and what looks best. We can also look at different color options. Everyone's personality is a little different. We like different shapes, we like different colors, and I say as long as the frame fits well for you, for both your face and your prescription, then pick what you want. What do you like? Make it your own. So I don't personally know Ben Higgins, so I can't answer any of those things, but here's what I think would look great for him. Here we have it. The Bulgari 3039. An awesome set of specs here, really well made, and this one's just a matte black color. Maybe he would want something a little different, but we've got a 54 eye size and an 18 bridge, and you'll notice the bridge is a little bit higher with him. His bridge is a little bit higher, so we want that to sit a little bit higher so that it's not pushing up too high into his eyebrows. There it is, the Bulgari 3039. Before we end this episode, I'll leave you with the tip of the day. Today's tip is about anti-reflective or no glare coatings. This is one of the things that caught my optician eye on Tayshia's season of The Bachelorette. The contestant Ed didn't have any anti-reflective on his lenses, or if he did, it wasn't a good one. Check it out. Yeah. Let me explain what anti-reflective does. So anytime light passes through a medium, some portion of that light is reflected back. So in this case in the case of spectacle lenses, that ranges anywhere from 8 to 16% of that light is reflected back. This presents a few problems for us. First of all, we can see one of those problems looking at Ed. We can't see his eyes very well. All we can see is that reflected light back. Another problem is that our vision is reliant on light reaching our retina. So if 15% of that light is being reflected back, that means we're only seeing 85% as clearly as we could be. Most of the quality anti-reflective coatings on the market also have some other inherent benefits like scratch protection, UV protection, and they make them easier to clean. Any way you look at it, anti-reflective is the way to go. So when you pick your frames, make sure you get quality lenses to go inside the frame. It's nice to look good in glasses, but it's kind of pointless if you can't see good in glasses. That's our whole goal. We want you to look great and see great. And with that, I'll leave you with the reminder to always see the good. Our world can be crazy and sometimes we don't treat each other the way that we should. But even with all that hate and darkness, there is still a whole lot of goodness and humanity on this earth. Look for that light and find it every day. See the good.